mod in question is simply amazing, and even in some ways admirable. Personally, I was amazed every new minute of studying this mod. Amazing the author of this mod. Why the fuck was to do this or that decision? But come on. Hello there, Anubis here. Review turned out to be long, but I tried to make an interest montage with inappropriated jokes. Also, for your convenience, there is navigation and time codes. What does the mod add? Well, first of all, what I downloaded the mod was for the new architect modification for the pawn, but as it turns out, the mod also adds material, which by their characteristic break the game the fuck up. Everything would be fine if they could only be used to make prosthetics. Well, come back to them later. But for now, the materials. Let's start right away with the main minus of this mod. These are absolutely unbalanced materials. Take a look at their characteristic yourself. Author, why exactly this character? No, the author. Why? Okay, Nano, Pika and Atom machines. This is the highest technology according to law, which allow us to create the most advanced things in the game. To create these materials, we need the basic working environment of Architect, but in order to make it, we need these materials. But you can buy them, and they can be sold at the tribe. You can make almost anything from these materials: sculptures, structures, floors, furniture, defense, and even the weapons and clothing. I think there is no point in stopping for a long time. I will just say that the sculptures are very expensive and give an incredible beauty. Buildings are extremely durable, in fact, as well as everything what is made of these materials. What will focus on other traps, what will have incredible damage and armor penetration in their characteristics, such as the trap from Atom machines, 800 damage and 1200% armor penetration. I almost forgot. There is also the soil from the machines, but there I can say that it stands out only the grow rate, or rather fertility. Just as interesting is their weapon with clauses. Weapon also have just incredible rate of both damage and armor penetration. Clothing is also very in balance. The maximum protection against all types of damage, as well as the ability to carry some just incredible temperatures. Oh yeah, forgot to mention that the price of all these items in also a space, because of the rates on your settlement, will be interesting.
Buddy, I think you got the wrong door. The leather club's 2 blocks down.
Fuck you.
Okay, you're already getting tired. So now, some interesting stuff. Experiments. The first thing we immediately want to test is whether our imbalanced clothing will protect us from the imbalanced weapon. We dress out test subject, all of legendary quality and the best material. And we give the second one a long sword, also the best, and as we can see, it didn't help at all. The second experiment. Let's test the strength of the structure. I've surrounded the little house the character is in. 40 burns with the rocket launcher will try to do at least some damage. Let's see if the character survived.
Okay.
I don't think for a further experiment. Sorry. Prosthetics. And now the most interesting and at the same time the most stuffy part of the video. Let's think about what we can put into the body of our pawn and what we shouldn't. Let's start with what kind of prosthetics the mod add in general. The full list you can now see in front of you and immediately look at the characteristic of Terry. Also there is a comparison of the speed and movement of the modified pawn and the regular factory worker. So, legs. In vanilla we have 2 prosthetics. It's bionic leg and archa leg, but there we get an extended archa leg, which is 4 times better than organic and more than 2 and 5 times better than just an archa leg. The hands are more interesting. If we look at the hand for walk, we extend our hand from the mod, is far ahead of the closest competitors in all areas. But if we look at the combat characteristic, the Obliterator Architect gives incredible damage, even more than legendary swords from Atom Machines, and it still has a higher body part efficiency. Unfortunately, the Claw of Death is not interesting at all. It was better armor penetration, but too little damage compared to the Obliterator. Heart's Architect has a high efficiency. For example, Bionic gives 145%, when Architect 170%. The difference is palpable, but unfortunately, I have nothing more to say about these prosthetics.
For not very interesting modification, we will not pass.
But the interesting part starts already with Architect Membrane and the Brain Melter. First, let's look at the Brain Melter. Of interest, it can heal scars. But the most interesting thing is its buffs. It improves very important characteristics of the pawn, such as a medical potential, learning efficiency, sleep, and reduce the pain up to 20%, while increasing the consciousness, which greatly affects the rest of the characteristics. The most imbalanced and interesting of all, the Architect Membrane. When combined with the Brain Melter, your character becomes a true Terminator. It increases armor of all types by 1000% and also 1000% to speed, which makes your pawn almost unkillable. Yeah, just like Tony Montana. Conclusion. So this big review come to an end, and I'll have to draw conclusions about this mod, and they are not unequivocal for me. Mods are indeed very imbalanced. But if you like to play without balance, or using mods would change the balance of the game,
A review of the such mod will also be released on the channel.
the mod can someone and like it, but personally I do not advise him to put without other such mods. And if you still want to download this mod, then welcome to the link in description. Anubis was here. Do not say goodbye.